It looks like Golda Meir will retain control of the Israeli government. The energy picture gets a little brighter in Los Angeles, but 3 major oil companies today raised their prices. And a look at what awaits Pasadena tomorrow, the parade, the game, and all of that. The news for the end of 1973 is coming up next.
Here I stand with open hands, reaching out for other men, working hard night and day, helping people all the way, standing strong and doing nothing that is wrong, looking for the beauty bright, doing all the things that are right. Those are not the words of a famous poet. They're the words of a young man you see in your picture. He and the young lady with him are retarded. If that startles you, it shouldn't. It shouldn't, because they're people, just like you and me. Human beings able to have productive, loving, and fulfilling lives. Unfortunately, they often suffer more from other people's misconceptions than from their own conditions. To help end that, we've made a film about 4 so-called retarded young adults. It's a sensitive program you should see.
See Standing Strong, Sunday night at 10:30 on Channel 4. You are looking at truly snooty furniture from Lloyd's of Long Beach. Now on clearance sale at savings to 50%. Lloyd's of Long Beach. KNBC, Los Angeles.
And here we are for the last night in 1973. Good evening, everybody. Golda Meir apparently has retained control of the Israeli government tonight in what is being described as the most important election in that country in some 25 years. With about 1/4 of the votes counted, computer projections indicate Mrs. Meir's Labor Party will be able to form a coalition but will lose seats in the Israeli parliament. Here's a background report on the election now from NBC correspondent David Burrington.
The voter turnout today was a surprise. There were predictions many Israelis would stay away as a gesture of protest, but they swarmed to the polls in record numbers. All agreed on one thing: it was the most crucial election since the country was founded. Just one issue, the war and how to end it. But there are no clear answers, and many Israelis agonized over their vote today to the very end. Polls showed that from 20 to 40% were undecided. Peace they wanted, but at what price and with which leaders, they weren't sure. In East Jerusalem, the war was also the main issue, but in a different sense. Here the people are Palestinians, and terrorist groups warned them not to vote. Israeli soldiers guarded the polling places, the mood was tense, and only a few of the eligible voters showed up. Prime Minister Golda Meir's party, the Labor Coalition, argued it was willing to compromise and could best achieve peace in Geneva. But she and her colleagues suffer from most of the blame for Israel's losses in the war. Her main opponent, Likud or Unity Party leader Menachem Begin, took a tough line. He called for new leadership to guarantee that Geneva is not a surrender. Defense Minister Moshe Dayan has probably been hurt the most by the war's uncertain outcome, and there are reports he may resign, depending partly on how the Army votes. The various party headquarters tonight, the mood was sober. There was little jubilation, even at signs of victory, because whatever the final outcome of this election, the burden on the winners will be fearsome. They must bargain for the future of their country, knowing that failure could end in more war and even the state's destruction. David Burrington, NBC News at Labor Party headquarters in Tel Aviv.
Once again, Mrs. Meir's Labor Party, the apparent winner tonight, losing some strength to a right-wing challenge, but emerging strong enough to form a ruling coalition with a 10-seat majority in the Israeli parliament.
This is the KNBC News Service with Paul Moyer. Ross Porter with the Bold Days Eve report. And Kelly Lang answers the meteorological question, will it rain in our parade? Here again, Paul Moyer.
Pasadena's day in the national spotlight is almost here. New Year's Day means, well, you know what it means, Tournament of Roses, the Rose Bowl game, and the parade and the like. And the prospect of seeing that parade has turned Pasadena into a virtual campground tonight. Thousands of hardy souls are already perched on their piece of Pasadena real estate, and they'll stay there until the Rose Parade ends. It's going to be cold tonight, but by 8 o'clock in the morning, 1.5 million people will have jammed the parade route, and most won't have the good seats of those early birds. For most, tonight will be one long party. but then again, some will sleep. The theme of the parade this year is Happiness Is, and for the early birds, happiness is a curbside seat for the big event. For the people building the 60 floats, which are the trademark of the Rose Parade, tonight means a lot of work. The small army of people are placing perishable flowers on the floats, and that job will last the night. There are 17 major prizes for floats in the parade, and the builders are all looking for one of those prizes as they go about their work tonight. In less than 1 hour from now, 55 miles an hour is going to become the official speed limit for California highways. The 55-mile-an-hour signs won't be uncovered until Wednesday, but that doesn't change the law, and the law says 55 is tops. Here's more on that story from KNBC's Joe Ramirez.
Many motorists already have voluntarily reduced their speed. Others have found it hard to ease up on the gas pedal to break that high-speed habit. But most think the new law is a good idea.
I think the 55 mile speed limit is fine because we'll cut down on a lot of accidents, I think, and if it saves gas, it's good.
I think it's a very good idea.
Do you think it's going to reduce accidents?
I hope so. I would think it would. It means that my wife will drive the freeway for the first time.
I think it's going to prevent a lot of accidents, hopefully, and I think people should slow down because they're going too fast now.
Many California highway patrolmen today were given last-minute briefings about the new speed limit.
Public address system.
They were told the quickest way to educate the motoring public is to start issuing citations.
Historically, we've enforced the speed law from the safety aspect. The new law represents a departure from that concept. The reduced speed limit and our enforcement of that limit are a measure to help alleviate a very critical fuel shortage in this country. I can't stress too strongly the importance of a vigorously uniform approach to enforcing this new speed limit.
Vehicle Code Section 22348A. It may not be familiar, but neither was the energy crisis. Joe Ramirez, KNBC News, Los Angeles.
Energy-hungry Los Angeles got some good news from Mayor Bradley today. Because the Department of Water and Power has been able to locate some new resources, the city can put off imposing Phase 2 energy restrictions originally set to go into effect in mid-January. The mayor credited citizen cooperation in Phase 1 cutbacks and a new federal fuel allocation plan for the postponement of Phase 2 in Los Angeles. As they say, we have some bad news too. Another energy source, gasoline, is getting tougher to find and it is more expensive. We'll have that story as we continue from Channel 4.
Inyo, Kern, San Diego, and Santa Barbara counties. See this unbelievable new film odyssey for 1974, The Wonder of It All.
The great Western feeling. At Great Western, you get assets over $4.5 billion, and so much more. You get the feeling that comes from knowing you put your savings in exactly the right place. That's the Great Western feeling.
Thanks to your response, Active Blind now has a new home. Your deductible gift will help equip, furnish, and maintain it.
Federal Energy Chief William Simon announced today that dealers could increase their gasoline prices, and before this day was out, 3 major brands posted those price hikes. Union went up 4 cents a gallon, Standard 3 cents, and Shell went up 1. Simon talked about the increase with NBC News correspondent Irving R. Levine.
This action was taken basically to forestall financial disaster for some of our independent gasoline dealers in this country. The filling station operator is going to be operating at reduced volume. And with his fixed costs and operating levels remaining rather constant, he cannot operate at reduced volume in gasoline and really stay in business terribly long. So we are going to send out a formula which will allow him to compensate for the reduction in volume and enable him to exist during this period of shortage.
So that in addition to the cent-and-a-half increase that the motorist will pay as a result of today's action, how much more will he pay for the second step?
In addition to the cent-and-a-half, he would probably pay an additional cent-and-a-half to 2.5 cents per gallon increase, meaning that both actions combined will be between 2.5 and 4 cents roughly throughout the United States.
The price increases announced today are intended to keep filling station operators from going broke as the result of having less gasoline to sell and higher costs. But other and larger price increases are expected in the next few weeks, when the recent doubling of foreign oil prices reaches the service station pump. So, for the motorist, it all means that by the end of February, the price of gasoline will be 10 cents a gallon higher than today. Irving R. Levine, NBC News, Washington.
Gasoline at any price was difficult to find in Los Angeles today. Many stations had already sold their December allotment. Others were closed because of the long holiday weekend. Those stations that were open for business had plenty of customers today. Nearly all stations in Los Angeles plan to close tomorrow, New Year's Day, and motorists didn't want to be caught a little bit short. Meantime, back east in New York, the situation was quite different today.
The New York Police Department had to get emergency deliveries to keep its patrol cars going. Last night, police had to use fewer cars than normal and put more men on foot. At the few service stations that managed to stay open, there were long lines. Waits of up to 2 hours were common. As this station in Manhattan got down to its last few tankfuls, arguments developed.
This guy told me to move on, but this guy was on this side. So why don't you pull up then and get some gas? I'm not moving until they give me some. So pull up something. If he giving the guy gas, so we'll pull up and let him pull you up and then let that lady get her gas. Now let this guy pull up and get some gas and you want to... My friend, come on, get in the car, get in the car. Right on.
This evening, the station finally ran out of gasoline. In this area, hardly any gas stations will be open tomorrow. Only on Wednesday will they begin to reopen as they get their January gasoline deliveries.
No more finish.
Robert Hager, NBC News, New York.
The 69-year-old entertainer has been feeling ill for the past 4 days, an illness that was diagnosed as pleurisy tonight, and it wasn't very clear whether Crosby would be able to get up to his invitational golf tournament in Pebble Beach, which begins next Thursday. But you can bet $1 to a donut that if he can, he'll be there, sweater and all. Time now for Ross Porter and his last sports broadcast on KNBC for 1973. Here's Ross.
On his television show here yesterday, USC coach John McKay predicted that Notre Dame would surprise Alabama in the Sugar Bowl, and the Irish did it tonight, 24-23, completing their first perfect season in 24 years. A 79-yard last quarter drive to a winning field goal gives Notre Dame a claim to the national championship. The Irish used 3 passes to set up Wayne Bullock's 1-yard plunge in the opening quarter, but missed the extra point. Alabama took the lead on Randy Billingsley's 5-yard run in the second period and a conversion. But on the kickoff, Notre Dame freshman Al Hunter, who has 9.4 speed, set a Sugar Bowl record when he sped 93 yards for a touchdown. The old mark of 90 yards was set by Monk Simons of Tulane in 1935. Tom Clements passed to Pete Dimmerly for what turned out to be an important 2-point conversion, and the Irish led 14-7. Just before half, Bill Davis kicked a 39-yard field goal for the Crimson Tide. Alabama marched 93 yards with the second half kickoff. Wilbur Jackson drove over from the 5 to give his club the lead. Later in the quarter, Notre Dame recovered a fumble at the Alabama 12, and Eric Pinnock scored on first down. It was 21-17 Irish. In the final stanza, Bama recovered at the enemy 40. Mike Sock passed 25 yards to quarterback Richard Todd for the go-ahead score with 9:39 remaining. But Davis, who'd kicked 53 of 55 extra points, missed, and that proved to be the difference. With over 6 minutes left, Clements on 3rd and 1 passed 30 yards to Dave Casper at the Alabama 15. Notre Dame drove to the 2, and then Bob Thomas barely made his winning 19-yarder with 4:26 left. On 4th and 20 from his 30, Alabama's punter was roughed with 3 minutes to play, but the kick was down on the Irish 1, so Tide coach Bear Bryant declined the penalty because it still would have been 4th and 5 since it was not an automatic first down. Notre Dame was faced with 3rd and 8 at the 3 when Clements passed 35 yards to Robin Weber, who made his second catch of the year, and the Irish ran out the clock. Notre Dame amassed 421 yards to Alabama's 317, and the Crimson Tide has still not won a bowl game since 1967. Another big loser, UPI. National champions shouldn't be crowned before bowl games. Ohio State is favored by 2 points to trip USC in the Rose Bowl tomorrow. At 10:45 in the morning, Richard Wood and Randy Gradishar are featured in our special, The Linebackers, here on NBC. Rose Bowl coverage starts at 1:30, and then it's the Orange Bowl between LSU and Penn State at 5. UCLA is ranked 1st, USC 7th, and Long Beach State 11th on UPI's latest college basketball poll. Boston beat Philadelphia 106-97 in the NBA, while Buffalo edged Detroit 6-5 in the NHL. Houston outfielder Cesar Cedeno is out of jail tonight, free on bond, now with a lesser charge in that fatal shooting. Sandy Blue paid $860 in the Santa Anita feature. 1973 has been a newsworthy year in Los Angeles sports. Bryant Gumbel produced a film package to remind us. Happy New Year, all. Paul?
Okay, old buddy. Happy New Year to you. And
Yes, sir.
Okay, see you in 1974. Spencer Kimball, the new president of the Mormon Church, held his first news conference after becoming president today. The new president succeeds the late Harold B. Lee, who died the day after Christmas. Kimball is a member of one of the oldest families of the Mormon Church. He is 78 years old. He has heart trouble and underwent a throat operation some years ago.
Good health. I am amazed at my own recovery from this and other serious situations.
He added that he would continue the work of his predecessor. Then Kimball was asked whether the Mormon Church's ban on full participation by blacks would be lifted during his presidency. He said it depends on God.
I'm not sure that there will be change, though there could be. We are under the dictates of our Heavenly Father, and this is not my policy or the church's policy. It's the policy of the Lord who has established it. And I know of no change, though we are subject to the revelations of the Lord in case he should ever wish to make a change.
You know, my son tells me, make the sausage thinner on our Celeste pizza. We'll save lots of money and nobody will see the difference. But we're not selling something to look at. We're selling something to eat. And when you eat something, how good should it taste? We import our Romano from Italy. Use fancy plum tomatoes, everything the best, at Celeste for our sausage pizza and all our frozen foods. There's no skimping on the old family recipe.
This is a great way to get to work. And it's one way you can help reduce the pollution in California's air. You see, cars cause most of our smog. So anytime you don't drive, you're helping reduce air pollution. The more we all ride the bus and leave our cars at home, the more we're going to clean up the air in California.
Do your share to clear the air.
Special Watergate prosecutor Leon Jaworski suggested today that federal grand juries will hand down a substantial number of indictments in the months of January and February. In a year-end report, Jaworski often alluded to progress being made in the Watergate case, but he did not specifically link the promise of new indictments to the Watergate case. In a related development, the Senate Watergate Committee said today that it may withdraw its subpoena for massive amounts of White House documents in lieu of a simple request for those White House documents. New York Mayor John Lindsay turned over the reins of city government to Abraham Beame today. Lindsay chose not to run again this fall after 8 years as mayor of Fun City. Lindsay wouldn't comment on his future political plans, said he just wanted to rest.
Are you glad or sad today?
Mixed. Mixed. 8 years is a long time to be in this chair, but it's been a joyous 8 years for me at least, and although we've had ups and downs, and it's been a lot of struggles and battles from time to time, it's been a wonderful experience.
There are some snow problems in the ski country around Alta, Nevada. The Avalanches this weekend killed 1 man, injured 2 others. So today, rangers triggered a number of snow slides with explosives to prevent further tragedy. The man-made avalanches closed the roads to Alta, so the people at the ski resort will have to sit it out until plows clear the way again. A storm at the Pacific has broken up an oil slick caused by the collision of this Navy ship and a Liberian tanker over the weekend. The Navy ship, the Private Joseph Merrill, was towed into San Luis Obispo Harbor today. The Merrill spilled 16,000 gallons of oil into the Pacific off Monterey after the collision. That slick has now been broken up by rough seas, and authorities say it poses no threat to the beaches in that area. Time now for Kelly Lang, weather for Southern California. Quickly, we'll ask you, any New Year's resolutions?
I'm never ever going to let it rain on the Rose Parade again after this year.
That's good enough. I am going to stop smoking, so you can hold me to that.
Oh, really? After all the...
After all the buying of cigarettes from all the people around here, I said, that's enough, so...
Okay, that's a serious one. We'll see, see that you do it.
Here's Cal with the weather.
And guess what? I have to break my New Year's resolution.
Oh, that quick? Okay.
Yeah, because it is going to rain on the Rose Parade. I'm really sorry about that. The rain is going to start supposedly early in the morning and then in a light rain in Pasadena, and then by the time the game starts it should be coming down pretty hard. 80% chance of rain tomorrow. The rain's going to cool us down to today's high in Pasadena was 65 degrees. We expect tomorrow it'll stop at just about 57 degrees in Pasadena. So rainy, windy, chilly. In and around downtown Los Angeles on New Year's Day, it'll be pushing 60 degrees and rainy. Valley folks, rain and into the upper 50s tomorrow. Same for eastern counties, Riverside, San Bernardino. Rain tomorrow with highs near 56 degrees, rain everywhere, and it probably won't let up until Wednesday. I really feel terrible about this.
You should.
If you're still going to take your traditional New Year's Day ocean swim in spite of the rain, you can join the Penguin Club. They'll be on Venice Beach at noon dipping in, or the polar bears that are there at Cabrillo Beach at noon tomorrow. The beaches will be soggy and gray and in the high 50s on the sand. It's going to snow in the mountains tomorrow, above 4,000 feet. First local snow of the season for us. Temperatures near 40 degrees tops at mountain towns tomorrow. And the deserts will warm to the mid-50s in the high and just the low 60s tomorrow in the low deserts and in and around Palm Springs. So chilly and windy and rainy. The east side of the country has it a whole lot worse than we do. A series of tornadoes hit Georgia and Alabama today and did a lot of damage. It is snowing hard tonight in the northeast, and it's pouring rain all the way down to the Gulf right now. And they got hail big as walnuts today in Montgomery and Atlanta, Georgia. It's cold, too. It's freezing cold tonight from the Rockies all the way across to the east coast. Never got above 0 today in the northern plains. And we've got our own little storm going to rain on our parade. Right now it is raining from south of San Francisco down as far as Point Conception. That's hard, but we're even getting some showers right now in West LA and right here in Burbank. So The rain is supposed to come down here early tomorrow morning, just in time for the parade. I apologize all over the place, and I wish you, anyway, a very, very happy New Year. You too, Paul, and I hope you keep your resolution.
I'm going to try. You know, the astronauts have seen 1974 come in 16 times already because they pass the international date line every 90 minutes. Right. And they say one New Year's Eve party is enough, but they've done it 16 times. New Year's Eve, of course, means parties, and parties mean booze, and too much booze means a hangover. New Year's Day football watching time, and it's no fun to do that when you have a hangover. So here are some hangover remedies, straight from the bartender and the patrons of O'Shaughnessy's Bar.
Good for a hangover would be an Irish Bloody Mary.
How do you make one?
Well, over here we have our own special recipe. You know, it's secret.
Simply take a little bit of the hair off the dog, go back and jump right on it again. You'll get right back to it.
We stick with strictly Scotch and water and drink about a half a quart of milk with a couple of tablespoons of honey in it before you go to bed, and there's no problem the next morning.
Well, don't drink. It's probably the best. But the next best, a vitamin B1, 100 milligrams, maybe a little hair of the dog the next morning.
The three of us were going to sing Auld Lang Syne at the end of the broadcast tonight, but fortunately for all of you, we don't have time. Have a great 1974 from all of us. Thank you, and good night.